Clean Dog here, perfect pitch. Just a little video on how to tell if your pitch is flat. So obviously one way to know is when you're rolling it. You know, if you're going a little bit quicker than normal, you can usually tell if there's any undulations in it because your roller does bounce around. You can probably see from this pitch, there are some undulations from where I've cut in. So I have scalped a little bit. I've gone in pretty hard here, and you can sort of see where it's just clipped the top there. So I'm cutting this at about 3 mil, just over, maybe 3.5, and it's, you know, there are some undulations there, but they're not that bad. So, and I can show you how or why they're not that bad. Because if we get this straight edge, okay, just another way to check it out is chuck your straight edge there, and then you can try and look under and see how much clearance there's under the straight edge. For example, this one on the edge here is probably the worst out of all of them, where you do have a little bit of clearance under there, okay? So overall, like, yes, there are some undulations here, but they're not so bad that I think it's going to impact play or anything like that. If you don't have your straight edge out here and you've got better grass coverage and things like that, where it might not be as easy to tell, you can also just grab your string line, try and just whack it down and have a look along it that way. So again, you know, those darker green bits, obviously slightly lower, but it's only like a mil lower, 1.5 mil at most. All right. Again, further ways to do it are just to come, depending on which way the sun isn't quite right for it to do this way, but you can just walk along the edge. When the sun's binging down on it, you can pinging down on it, you can really start to tell where the undulations there are potentially as well. And then just finally, another way to do it obviously is with a couple of balls. So should get a little bit of left to right here with our balls, but you know, we're going to have it just check, you know, how much little bubbles are in the pitch and so on. So your jugs ball is pretty good because it doesn't have the seam, but we'll do both anyway. So a little bit left to right. My rolling's pretty average as well. Got a bit of a yips with it sometimes. Okay, not too bad, not too much bobbling. Nice little bit of left to right there. Great weight, that it's going to hit the pin. Oh, unbelievable. And another one. Okay, seen just jumping up and down there a little bit, but then again a little bit of a bobble. All right, hope that's useful for you. Just a couple of little tricks, obviously not groundbreaking or anything like that, but just if you want to just get a feel for how flat your pitch is without having to scalp it like this a little bit. This is the third week up, just trying to cut the rye out a bit and so on. But you know, if you want to keep your grass coverage, you want to see how flat it is, just little tricks like that can work. Obviously you can get your big screed out as well if you're doing your a lawn level, and check it out that way as well. But so for a solution like this, on this pitch there's obviously a bit of a gradient as well. Well, I probably can cross roll this out, so that's probably what I'll focus on doing. This pitch is always going to naturally probably have a little bit of an undulation through it because it's got such a big gradient to it. Okay, so we've probably got about a 2% lean at least on the whole ground from left to right here, east to west, and then just on the pitch itself, probably not quite as bad, but not too far off. So it's probably about a 1.5 to 1.75% lean on it. Okay, and so what that means is the water up here, okay, yeah, it's not going to necessarily run in from off the ground onto this table because it is slightly proud. But what will happen is the water, you know, the amount of rain gets on here, okay, it's always going to be wetter this side because that water, once it starts pooling, it will just start running down that way, and then you'll start getting your potential corrugations and so on like that. So it is always naturally gonna have some little washouts and stuff like that. Clay, once it does get wet, moves quite easily. It's just that when it's hard, it doesn't quite move around as much. So for me, for the solution here, if I did want to try and get it out through manually doing it, I'd be cross rolling I'd just give it a little tickle. I reckon if I just went east-west scarification here, just wouldn't have to go too hard. As you can see, it's only, you know, maybe a mil and a half difference in some areas there, if that, in how high. So if I just go east-west scarification, maybe double up, a double pass, I reckon I'd clean it up. Cross roll after that, like, you know, good flood and drink and then a good cross roll. I think I'd probably hit all those highs out or get it. So it's just that's a little bit evener. You know, the far end there is pretty good, as you can see, and I think this end's not bad as well. We do get the lacrosse played here, so that bit in the middle is basically where the centre is, point of the ground for lacrosse, and that's why there's that little bit of extra undulation there. Leave some feedback if you'd like. Hopefully that explains it. Any questions, feel free to just shoot away.